Hey guys, thanks for taking the time to check out my YouTube channel, and welcome to Trove. Trove is an open world sandbox, free to play, free to download MMO game. I've been playing it for a little while now. I have a few hours logged in, not on this character though. My main is a different class. I just switched over to this class so I could show you guys the beginning of the game. When you start the game, you can pick your skin tone, you can pick your hair color, what your face looks like vaguely, just a small amount of customization, just enough to make the character feel like your own. You can even rock the Goku hair if you want to. So aside from the Knight class, there's a few others. I'm just going to head over to the class changer and I'll show you. Like I said, my main was the Dracolite, which I'll show you here first. So up at the top here, here's the Dracolite. The Ice Sage down here was actually the first one I unlocked, and apparently there's another two coming out as well. But you can see there's actually quite a few different classes you can play as. So when you're watching the gameplay of this video, just remember that the Knight class is the default class. There are ranged classes, there's magic classes, there's the Candy Barbarian, for example. So there's lots of different ways to play the game. So after you go through the adventure portal, which we just did, you're thrown into a randomly generated world, and in the randomly generated world, you're able to put up your own house. As you can see, there's actually a house being built in the background right now. That's a player-made building, which is pretty cool. The nice thing about Trove compared to Minecraft, for example, is the fact that anything you build, your hub, your base of operations, you can bring it with you wherever you want to go, which really encourages a sense of adventure in this game. There's none of that worry that you've gone too far off the beaten path and you're not going to be able to find your way back to your stuff, or if you die you're going to lose all your items. You actually don't lose anything if you die in this game. So the primary focus is definitely encouraged exploration, and this game does a good job of making you want to explore the worlds you're in. Even though the places in the game are randomly generated, they're still quite impressive. Like, I've actually found on a few occasions now, in a few different areas with different themes and whatnot, really impressive dungeons that I saw them and I wanted to climb them. I wanted to go in there. I wanted to find the boss. I wanted to see what they looked like. Later on in the video, I'm actually going to make a point to go and find a dungeon in each of the areas with the different themes, you know, like the ice dungeon, the data spires map, and you know, the lava area, stuff like that. It's just so you guys can see like the different aesthetic of the different areas of the game, and how even though it's randomly generated, the places in this game, they all have their own unique feel to them. And you know, if you find like a tower, it actually looks like a skyscraper. And if you find like a big dungeon, or a really large base, it looks like, you know, Bowser's castle. Aside from the exploration as well, this game, again, as opposed to Minecraft, it definitely gives you a lot of ways to enjoy the combat feel of it. Um, Even though building is a big part of this game, you don't actually really have to build anything if you don't want to. You can just stick with the starter house they give you, which is just like a yellow box with a red roof. Or you can build, you know, something bigger if that's something you enjoy. But the combat in this game on its own is actually quite enjoyable. As I was saying before, I mean, there's lots of different classes, which adds, you know, a lot of different ways to play the game. So it doesn't have to be a hack and slash game. You can, if you're playing the Ice Sage, for example, you can play at range. It actually is able to slow down enemies with its ice attacks. My main, the Dracolite, uses AoE attacks. It has a lot of explosives, things like that. So even though it's not super complicated, you don't have multiple action bars, there's lots of different ways to play the game. So it is pretty fun. And as you unlock more and more classes, I mean, you have more and more options as well, right? And after that close call there, as you can see, I just finished the boss monster. There was the objective in the top right telling me I needed to slay him. I thought I knocked that enemy off the edge. That would have been a pretty cool kill cam. But so every time you kill a boss or you complete the objective for the area, a chest pops up like that one there. Every chest, like every video game ever, has an item in it. Yeah, so I'm just going to hop off the edge here so you can see just how large this randomly generated tower actually was. It's definitely quite impressive. So not too far off from that tower there, I found this one. Uh, as I was saying, since the different areas have different themes, this is kind of like the area that is attributed to the Candy Barbarian. I actually had a lot of fun in this area. There was a lot of objectives, there was a lot of boss monsters for me to find. This is an objective here, so I clicked on the statue and now I have to defeat the multiple waves of enemies. As opposed to the last area we were in where, you know, the animals were, or sorry, the monsters were animals like bugs and stuff like that. Here in the candy zone, as you can see, all the enemies are candy, so there's some pretty good attention to detail going on here as well. And it just keeps it fun in general too, right? So you're not always seeing the same thing, you're not always staring at the same colored blocks, that type of thing as well. So I'm going to head into, right after I grab my treasure chest here. I do normally take a moment to look at the loot I pick up and to see if it's any better and to see if I should be equipping it. I do enjoy character progression, which is something you can do in this game, but I just didn't want to bore you guys with the menus while I check out stats. So we got a smack talking ice cream cone here. Take care of him real quick. Alright, so we're going to head into the tower. And you can see on the top right, as large as this tower is, it still has one main objective. There are other smaller ones that are a part of it. I actually just picked up a second one right now. So even though the tower itself has one main objective to clear in its entirety, there still are like sub-bosses, I guess you could say, throughout it. And speak of the devil, there he is. So, as I was saying, he summons ads too. A lot of the bosses in this game actually do summon ads. It's pretty typical to fight, you know, 3 or 4 enemies at a time, which is why it's a good thing to, especially in the harder levels, bring a team, or at least, you know, one friend or something, just so you're not all by yourself, especially, like I said, in the harder levels where the enemies get a lot stronger. The other added bonus of playing with other friends is that you don't actually have to team up or form a party with anyone. Anybody in the area, like how I just looted that chest there, anybody who is in the area, and this goes for blocks and, you know, other materials as well, if anybody is around you when you either slay a monster or you break an item, everybody gets that item. So if you dig up, you know, grass, everybody gets a green block. If you kill a boss and you crack open a chest, everybody who is in the area gets their own item. You don't have to worry about stealing loot from another player, or it's not like you have to worry about tagging kills. So it's definitely an added bonus, and it does definitely on fire. Oh, almost missed that one. That would have sucked. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about you know, missing your kill or not tagging a boss first, because it doesn't matter if you show up and a boss is at like a quarter health. You're still going to get loot from it as long as you're in the room when it dies. And speaking of which, as you can clearly see, the bosses are substantially stronger than the normal enemies. They have a lot more HP and they can kill you a lot faster. A lot of them won't be in rooms of death. Sometimes they're, you know, just in the bottom of a dungeon, but this one seems to be particularly difficult. The cool thing here too is I've actually never had 4 items drop in a row. This is definitely the largest amount of items I've ever seen at one time. So this dungeon, I guess, turned out to be a bit of a cash cow. Alrighty, and so I'm pretty sure you guys have a good understanding of what the combat looks like, how the exploration works, that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to a new area here. This is the data spires, and as you can see, it definitely looks substantially different from, oh, that's actually the cake tower in the background there. So yeah, the areas are quite close together. You don't have to go far to find another dungeon. And this, as I was saying, the data spires area has obviously a very unique feel to it. Looks quite a bit different. Same way the Candy Hills look different from the Green Mountains. This is one of the data spires towers, and I'm not going to go up this one because it will take a long time, and I already covered a lot of gameplay in this video. But I've done one before, and it took me probably 5 minutes just to get to the top of that. I'm going to head over here so I can give you guys a better look of what the dungeon looks like. So as you can see, I mean, there's lots of platforms you can jump up, there's lots of these domes, lots of pillars and stuff like that. It's really cool, and you can go in all of those. A lot of those domes will have bosses in them for you to slay. At the very top there's going to be, you know, another big boss again. So it's really cool, and I mean, it's one of the more unique looking zones. Next up is the lava zones. It's themed after the Dracolite class, which is my main. I tried really hard to find like an interesting big dungeon similar to the last 2 we just found, but I actually wasn't able to find a huge one in this area. There's a small one in the top right there, as you can see, but I thought I'd come here anyway and just give you guys a lay of the land lookout. And as you can imagine, The bigger dungeons have, you know, a lot of lava, a lot of fire, very angry looking, to say the least. And lastly, now that we're back in the peaceful zone, I figure I should cover one of the bigger selling features of the game is the crafting, and being able to build your own place. In the top left there, you can see there's an upside down house. Somebody always has to, you know, fight against the system there. I'll put up the current project I'm working on right now. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm the type of person that every time I play one of these games, if I'm going to build something, I just want to build a castle. But I actually got pretty excited, and I was able to make something a little more creative, which I'll show you guys now. It's gonna be a lightsaber. Yeah, if you're a Star Wars fan, there's no lightsaber handle that looks like that one. I kind of made it up on the fly. It's not finished yet. Um, when I was building it, I put all my amenities in the basement just so I wouldn't have to climb all the way up to the top of the lightsaber to get them. But you can see there how tall buildings actually can be and how tall mine is. I just ran out of a bunch of blue blocks. But I think that's a good spot to end this video. Hopefully it got you interested in Trove. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a comment. Let me know if you want to see more Trove, if you want to see other games. And thanks for watching.